Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com. Today is May the 16th, 2017. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. You know, the great comic, and in my book, he's one of the all-time greats, Jerry Seinfeld, believes that he might be a bit autistic because sometimes he's in groups and someone tells a joke and everybody else laughs and he just doesn't get it, right? He's there in the middle of the moment and he just doesn't get it. Now that's the way I feel about boxing sometimes, right? There have been times in my life where I've been watching a fight like Austin Trout against Saul Alvarez. They announced the live scoring during the event, and I'm baffled, right? The crowd's cheering. I'm completely baffled. Well, I'm absolutely baffled, and I mean this sincerely. I'm absolutely baffled by this Gervonta Davis-Liam Walsh fight, right? I'm missing something. I don't get it. Right? I'm autistic on this one. Let's be blunt here. If these two were fighting in a neutral location, and if the line was even money, right? Even money, I would pick Liam Walsh to win the fight. The line's not even money. Right? Incredibly, Gervonta Davis is a minus 450 favorite. Folks, he's better than, I really don't get it. He's better than a 4-to-1 favorite. Let me just clue people in. I know he's associated with Floyd Mayweather. I understand Floyd Mayweather will likely be attending the fight and has been in his corner for some of his fights, right? I hope the people setting this line understand that Floyd has to stay in the corner. He actually can't hop in the ring and help Davis win the fight, right? Davis has some things going for him. Let's talk styles, right? Davis, very heavy-handed. I would call him one of the hardest punchers in boxing. I just don't have enough information. Certainly on the films that are out there of him, he hits awfully hard, right? He's a southpaw. Like Floyd Mayweather, he has a great springing right hand. With Mayweather, who's orthodox, it's a left hook, right? With Davis, he can hit you from outside with a very nice right hook, right? He can lunge at you with it and hit you with it. But understand, Davis needs his legs set to do damage, right? Things need to be right for Davis to throw power punches. Now, there are a couple of huge gaps here in this fight. Liam Walsh, who, like Davis, is also undefeated, is much lighter on his feet. Folks, I mean much lighter on his feet. Davis, to me, looks like he's in cement compared to Liam Walsh. Right? Walsh is much lighter on his feet. Another big difference between the two guys is Davis's head just sits on his shoulders. Right? Davis has a greater than 90% KO ratio, and you could tell that he's never really had to worry about the bullets flying back at him. He has a puncher's persona, right? He expects to hurt you. So his head just sits there. It doesn't move much. He's not, dodging punches with his head. He's not sensing punches coming and then moving his head off to the side. By contrast, Liam Walsh has his head on a swivel. He'll even duck under punches. Right? Walsh strikes me as the much more fluid guy. Walsh strikes me as the guy who has the better defense. Let me also add that Walsh strikes me as the guy who is simply much faster in the ring. You look at some Liam Walsh fights, and I have his most famous opponent, right? Murray. In my favorites folder, both fights, right? Murray famously knocks him down in one fight. Well, you'll notice with Walsh is he's very creative in the ring. He's throwing all kinds of punches. His strategy changes based on what his opponent is doing, right? He'll come in at different angles based on what his opponent is doing. He also can fight different styles, right? He can fight you in the middle of the ring. He also is great at cutting off the ring. Simply put, I'm so baffled by this line that I believe the favorite in this fight, the more than 4-1 favorite in this fight, only has a puncher's chance of winning the fight. Let me go further. That's especially so since the fight is in Walsh's backyard, right, on a neutral field. I would expect Walsh to have the advantage if the fight went to the scorecards. In his own backyard, that advantage is going to be pronounced. Let me also go in a direction that might shock some people here. While I believe that Davis has the harder punch, right, he does. If he catches Walsh flush, he wins the fight by stoppage. But understand, I don't believe Davis goes the distance. I'm expecting Liam Walsh, who has a greater than 60% KO ratio, to close the show. Because I believe Davis is so accustomed to being the hunter that if he breaks, if Walsh actually smothers him, gets him on the ropes, is relentless, right? If this young fighter, Davis, who is several years younger than Walsh, right? I believe Davis is in his early 20s. Walsh is 30 years old. If Davis feels overwhelmed by the moment, right? Fighting on foreign soil against a fighter who I think has more talent than him, more hand speed than him, who might actually decide, look, I'm going to get inside. I'm aware of the fact that he has a hair trigger, right? Probably Davis's best punch, hair trigger right hook. I'm aware of the fact that up close, he has a lot of power. In his dominant hand, a left, and he can throw it straight. But I can take both of those away from him. Maybe I can be over on the side. Keep in mind, Liam Walsh is a southpaw as well. Maybe Walsh can be over on the side of the hair trigger right hook, smother it, but be too far away from Davis for Davis to land that left hand. Right? All I'm saying is, if Davis gets overwhelmed by the moment and hits the canvas, right? Or if the referee sees Davis's head snap back a few times, because Davis isn't going to know how to move it out of the way, right? If the referee sees Davis's head snap back a few times and decides, look, this young man has had enough. Let's not have his career be completely negatively impacted by this fight, then Walsh could well walk away with the KO. And yes, I'm talking about the greater than 3-1 underdog in the fight. So, this is a Jerry Seinfeld fight for me. I like Liam Walsh here to win the fight. If the odds allow, I'll hedge the play. with Davis by KO. I believe Davis only has a puncher's chance in this fight. Let me say this too. If Floyd Mayweather does show up for the fight, Floyd's going to see a fighter who looks a lot like him in the ring. Sadly for Floyd, that fighter is going to be his fighter's opponent, right? I'm expecting Liam Walsh to dissect Gervonta Davis. I think Davis is in the part of his career where he's knocking everyone out because it's early in his career, right before he starts fighting very elite competition and fight after fight. Guess what? He's in against very elite competition in this one. I don't believe he should be favored. I think there are a lot of things that could hurt him. He doesn't have the volume Walsh has. He's fighting Walsh in Walsh's backyard. Walsh is the guy who has the greater experience going deeper in fights. I like the underdog. I don't understand the Vegas odds here. The play I'm recommending is the underdog at greater than 3-to-1 odds, hedged with Davis by KO. Let me hear from you. Give us your thoughts on the fight. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section to this video. Thanks for stopping by.